Welcome back everybody to the Wandering Samurai Study, in which we review and analyze every single act told in Rurouni Kenshin, and today's act is Act 37, Meeting at Tsukiyama Garden. After the previous act where we wrapped up the Maekawa dojo little story, I was kind of left wondering how Kenshin gets roped back in. I was left wondering, how exactly is the conflict going to continue between Raijuta and Kenshin now that their particular meeting is, I guess, over? Raijuta left, Kenshin left, Maekawa dojo, that whole scene is finished. But Raijuta actually just goes and pulls Kenshin back in. For some reason, despite their ideologies being completely different, Raijuta sees something in Kenshin that he wants. And it's not really a mystery what it is, because Raijuta is so in his own head about what it is that he wants that he's not thinking about others. He obviously doesn't respect others' emotions or thoughts or wants or needs. Like, he's so into himself. Despite their ideologies being completely different, he sees Kenshin's strength and he wants it for his Shinko Ryu. I'm continuing to play along, just hoping that I kind of come back around, but I didn't really like this act that much. Again, Raijuta just feels very weak compared to all of the other villains. And we'll get into that as we do the chapter summary review. But without further ado, it's chapter summary review time. Hey! Back at the Kamiya dojo, Kaoru fills Sanosuke in on everything that occurred at the Maekawa dojo. Kenshin ponders on the motivations of Raijuta. A man with a carriage arrives with an invitation for Kenshin to go to Yutaro's house. Kenshin meets with Raijuta and he invites Kenshin to be a part of his Shinko Ryu, explaining that he wishes to remove the modern form of Kenjutsu in Meiji and bring back traditional swordsmanship. Kenshin declines his offer and reminds Raijuta of his beliefs, meaning that if Raijuta's cause disrupts Kenshin's values, that he will cross swords with him if he must. And that's exactly what I meant in the intro bit. Raijuta really just doesn't care. This approach to a villain is very unique and very different from what we've gotten before. So I will give the credit due where it's due, in that this villain is going after swordsmanship, or is attacking swordsmanship in the Meiji rather than personal day-to-day lives. It's a little bit more unique in that approach, rather than going after people that are simply trying to live their lives regularly. He's going after people that are trying to keep a craft alive in a more non-disruptive way, where Kenjutsu or swordsmanship has become more of a sport rather than a way of life. And I've already explained all of this before, but it's just kind of more of that. This is the whole reason that the Raijuta arc is supposed to be interesting. The problem with Raijuta is that there hasn't really been any information about him as to how he connects to Kenshin as a form of the past. Because the most interesting thing to me about Kenshin is just how the past, the ghosts of the past, continue to try and haunt Kenshin while he's trying to live a very peaceful life. Raijuta just seems to be a guy that just has a bone to pick with the Shinai and Kenjutsu and Kendo and stuff. What will, if it's not already called Kendo, what will eventually become Kendo. And that's what I mean. Like, Jinne is a former Hitokiri that Kenshin heard rumors about. The Oniwaban are former shinobi of Edo Castle who want the title of the strongest because they never actually got to see combat during the Bakumatsu. And then here comes this guy that just has, I guess, a vendetta, or he just feels that he's better than what Kenjutsu is or swordsmanship is, and he wants to ruin everybody's fun. Like, I don't know, man. I just, it doesn't jive with me for some reason. And I know that this is all just pure emotional appealment, but for whatever reason, I don't like it. And it's fine if you like it. I'm not here to try and ruin something for somebody else. It's just not personally appealing to me. And I mean, that's just something that I'm gonna have to live with. And I'm hoping, though, that eventually I'll get to a point where things do kind of turn around. Because I do like this unique approach to a villain. I just don't like the villain himself. So, enough with Raijuta. Let's kind of go ahead and talk about the setting. I really like how Kaoru was kind of filling in Sanosuke as he completely missed out on all of the fun. I don't even know how I didn't even realize that Sanosuke wasn't even involved. That was kind of funny to me, that he was kind of, putting his finger in his ear, kind of like, oh yeah, I guess I missed out on some fun. But the reason that I bring this up, though, is because immediately following this, Kenshin is pondering on why a man such as Raijuta is trying to go around closing other dojos, because we find out that this incident with Raijuta challenging the Maekawa dojo is now closing because he defeated it. I didn't remember this being a thing, but I guess that if a person challenges the dojo and the dojo loses, they have to close. But like I said, Kenshin was pondering so much on Raijuta's motivations, but we actually get that information like in the same act, and I like that. Because it was kind of ambiguous as to why somebody such as Raijuta, who practiced Setsujin To, or however Kenshin pronounced it in this one. He used actually Ken instead of To, how I got it from that one website. He uses swordsmanship in the art of killing. Why would he go around challenging dojos? He is obviously strong enough that challenging these dojos isn't that big of a deal for him. Like, it shouldn't be. But we find out later on in the act that he's going around doing this so that all of the dojos shut down and his version of Kenjutsu can rise or can make a comeback. Okay? Like, why does it bother him so much? Again, I'm sorry. Moving on. So this man comes by and picks up Kenshin, and the Kenshin Gumi follow along, and Yutaro is so quickly written out of the scene that it was too funny. That it was almost like, he probably should include Yutaro, and then just got rid of him as fast as he possibly could. And I think that this is just because he didn't really know what to do with him. He kind of served the purpose of like doing a joke, but because he didn't have time to expand on the relationship between Yahiko and Yutaro in this act, like he had to find a way to get rid of him really quickly, and so he did. And I think the only reason that Yutaro is here is because he is it's his house. It wouldn't really make sense that you wouldn't see Yutaro, especially because he looks up to his sensei. So if his sensei is at the house, Yutaro needs to be nearby, because he's kind of like that little puppy that's just following you around everywhere, in the case of Raijuta. But how Raijuta, a man that is so big and kind of vulgar looking compared to Yutaro, like how he associates with this mansion, we actually get an answer really quickly from Yutaro's father, and he just says that he happened to be passing by when some bandits were trying to, I guess, rummage or sack the mansion, and Raijuta came and helped, and so he's been here ever since. We will get more into that as more information becomes available, because that is kind of important. And with that, going back to Raijuta and Kenshin once again. Gosh, I keep trying to finish it, but I keep coming back to him. The whole purpose of this act, the whole reason for it, was so that Raijuta can get Kenshin back into the conflict, as I said, but it was to invite him into the Shinko Ryu. As I said, that the Ryu is supposed to be a teaching of a style of swordsmanship. And the Shinkai Ryu, it is essentially what Kenshin calls a swordsman league, because Kenshin has his own style, and he doesn't really understand how he could be a student of the Shinko Ryu or a member of the Shinko Ryu if he has his own style. Because the only reason that Raijuta was going around challenging dojos, besides wanting to close them down, was so that he can also recruit other people into his Shinko Ryu. And so far, his venture has been kind of fruitless, in that Kenshin was the first one that made an impression on him by being able to avoid his Shinzo or Izani? I forget the name of his move. And because of that, he wants Kenshin. But Kenshin tells him that he has his own swordsmanship style, and well, the whole reason that, or the whole purpose of the Shinko Ryu is to kind of flex strength. The only, I guess, requirement is that you're strong, and Kenshin has proved himself to be strong, as he was able to defend himself in that battle with Raijuta in the previous act. Kenshin tells him that, well, that's more of a league, and he says like, yeah, that's fine. He just wants the Shinai and the current state of swordsmanship to be wiped off the face of Japan, and he wants his version to exist. And so, of course, this doesn't jive with Kenshin, because he uses Satsujin Ken, the sword that kills. If he's going to be disrupting the peaceful lives of people, then that is not going to jive with Kenshin, especially if Kenshin knows about it. And so the two end the chapter with kind of a face-off, saying that their ideals are going to have to be met with a sword. Raijuta is really getting his way in all of this, and I kind of really don't like it, but it progresses the story. Go figure. It's just kind of what needs to happen. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Act 37 of The Wandering Samurai Study, and Act 37 of Rurouni Kenshin, meeting at Tsukiyama Garden. If you like this video and you want to see more, then consider subscribing to the channel. Leave a thumbs up and comment down below something that you liked about this act. How do you feel about Raijuta? I know that I'm coming across very negative about him, but if you like him, please talk to me. Let me know why it is that you like him. I want to be able to see what other people see. I want to like Raijuta, is what I'm trying to say. And if somebody can kind of give me a good argument for why Raijuta is a good villain, I'd love to hear it. I'll talk to you guys down in the comments. Bye, ciao.